Okay, so now, as you can see, all is well for Adam and Eve because they have now taken their bodies back. So they have reunited themselves with their bodies. And so, in effect, they have subdued death, okay? And they have taken dominion over death, okay? You see how that happened? Now, I'm just gonna skip the gospel story for a moment, but we can get back to that, but if you want. But I'm just gonna go up straight to the crucifixion, okay? Um, but before the crucifixion, Jesus had the Last Supper meal, in which he has a loaf of bread, okay, and a cup of wine, okay, and he tells. So this is at the Last Supper. We'll call this the Last Supper, okay, before Jesus gets crucified. So Jesus is now, he's got all these, he made some friends, and they're called like the 12 disciples. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so you get like 12 people, including Jesus. Okay, don't forget him. And they're all hanging out at this Last Supper meal. Okay, they're all probably laying down, lounging. Okay, so maybe we'll just situate them like that. Um, so they're all over here at this meal, um, around the Last Supper table. Okay, and so what Jesus is telling them now is he's saying some interesting things to them. He's saying, this is my body and this is my blood, okay, to all of his friends, his disciples. And there was more than just these 12 over there, too. There was all the girlfriends and associates, okay? But Jesus is telling these people, I am, okay, this food for you, okay? He's saying, take this and eat this. This is my body and this is my blood. Okay, we'll draw a little wine in there. Okay, see that? Now, why would Jesus be telling these people that? Let's just move him closer. Let's. I'll tell you what. Let's sit him at the head of this table. Okay, and he's saying to everybody, this is my body and this is my blood. Okay. All right. So he's sitting down there, and he's saying to them that that's my body and that's my blood. All right. Take it and drink it and eat it. All right. So now, can you see how, if we trace this back here, can you see, and through this other path to, and remember, this path goes to all 12 of these people too, this bodily path that, okay, I mean, because they had offspring, Cain, Abel, and, well, Abel, he kind of got nixed, but Cain and Seth, and with them, and it led to everybody, and it's still leading to everybody, by the way, and it led to Saint Anne and all, to her husband, and to the Virgin Mary, and even to Jesus. Okay, but they took this path up here because you can't walk around, you can't take a path when you're underground. You see that? Adam and Eve underground. That means they're you don't move from, you're kind of like stuck. So what they did was they flew up spiritually, and they spiritually did this other journey, but everybody else went this way with their they with their this way. Okay, they did believe me. All right, so can you see the why I have to draw this out for you? Okay, because it's kind of a little difficult to explain here. Okay, so but the important thing to note, to take note of, is this Last Supper meal where Jesus is explaining to these people who he is. Okay? So let me illustrate for you now how this, what's called transubstantiation. The church calls this transubstantiation. Okay, let me just write that word down right there. Transubstantiation, or T. Transubstantiation. It's a really long word, and it takes a really long time to actually do. Alright? But let me try to explain this to you in the simplest of terms. Okay, so you fully understand it. Now, when Adam and Eve died, and they're resting in this grave, okay, somehow there was, the breeze blew and something happened. Okay, a seed fell upon this grave, and it was a wheat seed, and a grape seed fell upon this grave. Okay, so you got, so, and what came up from the grave was a wheat field. I'm not going to draw you a whole wheat field right now. I'm just going to draw you one wheat thing, and a vine, a grapevine. So you see that? See, there's grapes on the vine right there. Okay. Now, bear with me here. All right, because this is advanced science here. Okay, and truth, and believe me, this is all like very, very true stuff. Okay, transubstantiation. Okay, now remember, I told you how many thousands of years it took between the time of Adam and Eve to the time of the Virgin Mary and Jesus. Remember, and all the generations between that time span, okay, between Adam and Eve and Jesus and the Virgin Mary, we're talking thousands of years here. Okay, so this isn't just one stalk of wheat. This is like a whole big field of wheat. Okay, you know, I don't know how to illustrate that for you, but I mean, I'm talking like thousands of years of stuff growing on these graves, and trust me, there is a lot of stuff been growing on these graves, on this grave of Adam and Eve, for thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years. Okay, so a lot of stuff grew on this grave, I guarantee it. Okay, and amongst the stuff that grew on this grave here of Adam and Eve is wheat and grapes, I guarantee it. Okay, I mean, it's just a scientific fact that would happen. Okay, and it's backed up totally by Jesus. Okay, and Jesus is saying to everybody, to all of his 12 pals, that this is my body and this is my blood. He's telling them to take and eat his body and his blood in the form of bread and wine. And as you know, when you harvest wheat, it turns into, you harvest the wheat and then you turn it into bread, and you harvest the wine and then you turn that into wine. Okay, so all these generations have been doing that. They've been making wheat And a lot of these people, maybe they didn't know. But for earlier generations, I'm sure they may have seen something growing on that grave. There's no doubt about that, right? And we do have some evidence. There was a priest called Melchizedek. It's an interesting story. He offered some bread and wine to Abraham, okay? And it's possible that bread and wine came from wheat and grapes that grew on Adam and Eve's grave. Okay, so at any rate, why? So you see the common sense that this is the course that this is taking, how it's a common sense type of thing. It's not like super duper complicated. You just have to see it and illustrate it so you can understand it. Okay. But why would Jesus be telling everybody, this is my body and this is my blood? Is there any logical explanation for that? And not only that, but he also said, the food that I give you, Jesus said, the food that I give you is real food, and the drink that I give you is real drink. So this is real food, bread and wine. It's real food. I mean, it's not a rocket science. This is a simple thing. Bread and wine is real food. Okay. It's just real food. Okay. And there's something special about it, though, because it's his body and it's his blood. Okay. And he's showing who he is, and he's telling everybody who he is. Now, one thing I want you to understand, people were asking him, they said, show us the Father. And he said, if you're looking at me, you're looking at the Father. So he basically claimed that he was the Father. And that's true, because Adam and Eve is the father and the mother of all of humanity. Okay, of everybody. Okay, Adam and Eve is the father and mother of everybody. Okay, and they went underground, but everybody stayed alive above the ground. You see that? So they kept them in their memory alive. And then he insisted that we do this as a memorial to him. He said, do this in memory of me. And now it's turned into a ritual which we must perform in remembrance of him. Okay? Maybe he wasn't happy enough with his funeral ceremony or whatever, but look, whatever reason, he asked us to remember him, okay, and to do this in remembrance of him. Okay. So, and he also said, this is the body that I'm leaving now behind for you. This I give to you. This is my gift to you. Okay. And he made a new covenant. So there's a lot of things associated with this, and this is all done during the time of the Passover, and this is a special sacrificial Passover meal too. So it has a great significance to it. Okay, he was showing his body and who he is to these people. He's saying, "Look, this is my body and this is my blood." Okay, and take it and eat it. This is what I give up for you so that you can be forgiven. Okay? So he made a ritual out of this, and he said to do it in remembrance of me. He instituted the Eucharist. Okay? So let me write that down, because this is called the institution of the Eucharist. Okay? See that? This is what was going on here at the Last Supper. The institution of the Eucharist. And Jesus made a new covenant. Okay? New covenant. Okay? See that? New covenant. So all this happened at the Last Supper. He was showing these people that this is his body and this is his blood. And look at that. See, you go back to here. And it really is, because they took these, people took the wheat and the grapes, okay? They harvested them, okay, and turned it into bread, you know, and wine. See that? And they've been doing this for thousands of years. They've been doing that. But they didn't really know, like for sure, unless somebody actually told them that that's his body and that's his blood. See how that works there? I mean, can you understand that? The incarnation, the Immaculate Conception. That obviously she had to come first for her to have him come and be her son. But now I was trying to allude to this earlier, but hold on just a second. At first, remember, we had Adam, and from his rib came her. So out of him, she came out. She got pulled right out of him. Well, guess what happened then when this whole thing got turned around? Now, things switched up, and he got pulled out of her. And then they cut the cord. Okay? See what I'm saying? So it switched around. First, she came out of his rib. She came out of him from his rib. And now he came out of her womb. See that? So this is a whole lot to think about right now. Okay, so I'm gonna let you think about it for a little while, because it's a real interesting story here, isn't it?